What is up, guys? JE Live. It is Jake Ellenbogen here, and we're gonna be doing some Q&A. Ask me anything. I guess those things are kind of the same. I guess I don't know if Q&A sounds better. I don't know. AMA, Q&A, whatever. We're going to be doing that. We're also going to be talking about the Rams' newest acquisition on their practice squad, former Steeler 6th-round pick in 2020, and that is Antoine Brooks Jr. So we're going to be talking a little bit. I have some of my notes here. I'm going to just go a little bit over some of the things that stood out to me when I was watching his film. Going back to when he was at Maryland, I did see him at the Senior Bowl, of course, because I was at the Senior Bowl. So we'll get an opportunity to discuss that. He ran a 4.6 40. He's a defensive back slash linebacker, kind of a hybrid. Before we get into that, though, be sure to like this immediately. Be sure to like, because once you like, it sends this out. It tells YouTube, okay, people enjoy this, people like this, we're going to recommend this to everyone else. So be sure to do that. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That also really much helps. And, be sure to, if you want to anyway, be sure to drop a comment, leave a like, and, ask a question as I have something fly conversation. Awesome. Gotta love that. Also, I got my sparkling ice day. It is not the caffeine one, but we do have the sparkling ice black raspberry. So you can see that condensation there and everything going on. It's fresh. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Antoine Brooks. I'm going to get into the comments and questions and all of that. Yes, hit the like button. AZZA, appreciate you. Tell it how it is, Jakery. I'm going to tell you how it is. What's up, handsome Eric? Will, how we doing? One more week, exactly. What's up, Ashton? How we doing? Drizzies. All right. Scott, what's up? Dominic, you're on time for one of these? Yeah. I guess we're gonna be Cyclops in a sec with only one eye to use because I keep getting stuff, in my eye or whatever. I don't know why. Anyway, what's up, Coach? How we doing? Sparkling ice is that good. It's not a gimmick. Like, I absolutely love it. It's the only drink I really want to ever drink. Yeah, I saw the Fear Street part 1 a while back and part 2, Julio, and part 2 is so good. And I saw Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi is unbelievable. Definitely go see that when you can. What's up? All right, so okay, let's talk a little bit about Antoine Brooks Jr., shall we? The new Ram. Let's also turn down this. Let's turn it off. Better yet, I have this fan in my eye, and it's just making me hate everything. Okay, so let's talk about Antoine Brooks Jr. 6th-round pick, Pittsburgh. Why the hell did they cut him? Why didn't they bring him back? We're gonna talk about it. Okay, so basically, Antoine Brooks Jr., more of like a developmental type of option. 2'11", 220 pounds. He's like a safety, so to speak, more so being like a strong safety. But the thing with him that I really like is that he does have the positional versatility at linebacker. And so, sorry guys, it's the show must go on. I'm going to keep rubbing my eye. I have to do it, whatever. So basically what's going on is that, this is somebody that can play linebacker, he can play safety, he can help you in coverage, and more importantly, I think this guy really flashes when he's coming down to lay the wood, so to speak, really put a hit on the ball carrier. And furthermore, I was really impressed with his ability to rush off the edge, which was really surprising because you wouldn't have expected a guy like that to rush off the edge, but he did. So, that's a few things that stood out to me. I'm really enjoying this, by the way. My God. It's not an allergic reaction. It's just the fan and then something flew in my eye and now it's like awful. So this is me crying when the Rams lose. No, I'm kidding. All right. Yeah, so Antoine Brooks, okay? Basically, Like I said, has ability to rush off the edge, has that versatility. I think he's going to be used for the Rams this season at some point, has special teams ability. I really like him on special teams. I talked to my cousin Adam, who had all of the time in the world to watch him when he was at the Steelers, liked him a lot. When it came down to his injuries, and he was waived injured. It's been an injury type of factor, but the Rams thought he was interesting. They're going to give him a shot on the practice squad, and we'll see. We'll go from there. But that's definitely somebody that intrigues me, should intrigue you. When you look at, the safety depth the Rams have, he's probably not going to be needed unless somebody goes down with an injury. But when you look at Taylor Rapp and Terrell Burgess and Jordan Fuller and Nick Scott, they've all had injuries. So, with the 17-game season, I wouldn't be surprised to see Antoine Brooks you get added to this roster at some point. He had a 5th-round grade from me. I think really when you look at it, this guy plays like he is an alpha male, so to speak. I mean, he is really the go-to guy on the field. When his presence is there, he makes you pay. He has a lot of pop behind his pads. Kind of plays similar to Mark Barron coming out of Alabama. And then as we know, playing for the St. Louis Rams and the LA Rams, as, more of a pseudo linebacker, safety linebacker hybrid until becoming an actual, becoming an actual linebacker. I just think he does a really nice job of, he's a perfect type of tackler, so to speak. He hits very well. He doesn't go for just the big hit. He makes sure he has the hit, and then, he wraps up and then lays the boom, kind of similar to, the thing that I was just saying yesterday with Jalen Ramsey, why he's so good at that. So, this is somebody that's definitely intriguing to me, not somebody that I would go out there and say will start. But, I think potentially could come off the practice squad. They've added some good guys that come, from outside the building. And keep in mind, when they add a guy like this, they add a guy like Buddy Howell, they add a guy, yesterday in Jared Hawker, that tells me a bunch of things. So last year, they get a guy from 2018 in Howell. So that's probably somebody that Sean McVay and company evaluated in 2018. They liked what he brought to the table. They never had an opportunity to grab him, and now they do. 2019, there's nobody there. But then 2020, you add a guy like Antoine Brooks Jr. I'd imagine he was on their board. I'd imagine they liked him. And now they have a chance to get him. And I believe they met with him as well. I'd have to go back and check, but I do believe they met with him. This is why those meetings do mean something. It develops those personal relationships, friendships, whatever you want to call it. It's been mentioned multiple times. I mean, Robert Woods on the Jim Rome show basically said the other day, I think it was either today or yesterday, I saw it in the Discord, which, by the way, you should join. Robert Woods basically said, he had a meeting, going back to when he was coming out of USC in the draft, and he had a pre-draft meeting with the Detroit Lions, and that's where he actually, ran into Matthew Stafford and had some conversation with him, so he knew a little bit about him. Those things matter, and so I think that's definitely something to point out. But Hawker's interesting because Hawker comes from this draft class. I don't know if they met with him or anything like that. It was really hard to find any information on who they met with in this draft class. But, he is a guy that comes from this, this draft class. And so, he's somebody that if you look at the film, he has 2,000 plus reps, playing, for Texas A&M, played a ton of games, has a lot of experience at guard, playing in the tough SEC, going up against the interior pass rushers that live there. So he's intriguing. I think all of these guys that they added could eventually make their way onto the 53 at some point this season. And I think this is why players want to sign with the Rams on their practice squad. You talk about what it brings to the table. First off, you're going to a really nice organization, an organization that does believe in promotion from within. I mean, just look at John Wolford. They signed him completely out of, the AAF. He was playing for the Arizona Hotshots, and then they signed him during the offseason. They work with him, and sure enough, they keep him around, and he ends up being the backup now to Matthew Stafford, started at the end of last season in replace of Jared Goff. And so it just kind of goes to show you, you can look at Wolford, you can look at, what they do with UDFAs and how Corey Littleton came in. He missed pretty much all of OTAs due to the graduation rules with the Pac-12. And then, was able to, make the team and then become, a focal point for their defense in 2018 and 2019. And, it's just, this is kind of how it works, is that you get an opportunity with the Rams. Like when teams, when players are looking around, who should I sign with? Who should I sign with? Right now, there's 9 teams. If the Rams are one of those teams, they're going to be a finalist because they've really done a nice job showing that, hey, just because you're a UDFA, or hey, just because you're a late round pick or what have you, or just because you're on the practice squad, doesn't mean that you don't have a shot to, level up, rank up with us, get on this 53-man roster. You saw last year, J.R. Reed eventually got on the 53-man roster. Dante Dion didn't last year, but he did in 2019. You saw Jake Gervais. They believe in promoting from within, and that's a big thing for the Rams. It's why they get these guys to be able to sign there. It's why they do so well in college free agency, and they've been doing that for a while. You talk about Reeder and Eric Banks, and this past year, with Alaric, AJ Jackson, and they just continue to really hit home on that. And so I think that's the big thing. It stands out, and it's something I wanted to bring up. So I'm excited for Brooks. I don't think Brooks is going to, again, I don't think he's going to be like a superstar or anything like that. I have to temper my expectations there. I mean, he is still a practice squad defensive back / linebacker, essentially, that, has a lot of potential, but also struggled with injuries. So you can't put too much on his plate, but him and Hawker, and, Buddy Howell, I think those two, I think Hawker's the most interesting. Antoine Brooks has the biggest name of the bunch because of recency bias, was in the 2020 draft, made an impact at Maryland, all of that. And I think Buddy Howell is probably the most underrated. So Hawker has the most upside, Howell's the most underrated, and Antoine Brooks is more so the bigger name, so to speak. So, I think the Rams did a nice job, getting some guys that are outside of the organization. I like that they did that. I know it's great to keep in-house guys on your practice squad, but it is also nice to venture outside a little bit and be able to have the opportunity to get the guys that you did like at some point in, the draft and what have you. So, that's why you have your pro scouts. Everyone's like, I get asked all the time, like, do the college scouts, also scout NFL players? I'm like, absolutely not. There's pro scouts. And so the pro scouts, their job is to make sure that, they're making, their way around the league and making sure, certain players that maybe they might target, certain free agents coming up. I mean, you got to make sure that you're scouting, and you have to make sure you're building that information and the knowledge, and it's all very calculated. A lot of these approaches that they go through, very calculated, a lot of decisions to be made. And so you want to make sure that you're in the position to make the best decision. And that's why, you have your pro scouts. And that's how you end up with guys like Antoine Brooks. It's how you end up with guys like Jared Hawker, who's probably more so a college scout type of guy that would have come there. And that's why you end up with guys like Buddy Howell, especially. Don't get me wrong, there's also connections to coaches. Coaches will find, hey, I worked with this guy in New England, and I know he's with the Texans, and I haven't worked with him since, but when he was in New England, he had this and this and this. And so you bring that, you forward it to the head coach. The head coach goes, okay, might be interested in that. Then boom, so I'll continue on with the questions. I just wanted to have that kind of, I always have these cold opens, so to speak. But, I want to make them informational, not clickbaity. So hopefully you got some good information out of that before we went into the Q&A. So, okay, he tweeted about 5 minutes ago, Robert Woods has a new member of the family. That's awesome. I love Jalen Ramsey. What's that long white towel he wears on game day? I'm not really sure. I heard Micah got cut. Is that true? Yes, Robert, Micah did get cut initially, but he is on the practice squad, which is a little bit of a shock to me. I thought that he might get picked up by the Packers or, the Chargers with the familiarity factor there, but he didn't, and he is back. So he's still in the building. Jake, you're cutting the hand that feeds you. Watch out. What do you mean by that? Anyway, Is sparkling ice really that good? Yes, it is. Oh, I answered that already. You tweeted that you... Okay, I saw that. Oh my god. Like, I don't know why YouTube's all weird today with the comments. It's showing me comments I've already gone through. What's up, Nugget? It's the best 0 calories drink out there. Totally agree. Although it's 5 calories, but it's 0 everything else. Do you think if Sean stopped play calling, the team would be better with his focus more on the players throughout the game? No, I mean, it might change things a little bit, but I think, Sean McVay is a great play caller. I think he made things really difficult, having Jared Goff and not having Jared Goff playing at the 2017-18 level that he was capable of. So he really had to think outside the box. I think he got a little rattled when, somebody like, say, Bill Belichick or, Vic Fangio or somebody like that, like really may have cracked the armor a little bit, may have started to kind of startle him, and so that's what I would say in that. Maybe he overcompensated. I don't know for sure, but I do want to see more Darrell Henderson getting the opportunities. I forget who mentioned it. I think it was Rams House, because there's like 3 Rams houses especially in the Discord. Rams House, one of the Rams houses mentioned that, I think I have it here, let me bring it up, because it's a really good stat, and I used it the other night on Sirius XM. Okay, I have it right here. Through a little study work, we found out that Hendo averaged 5.06 yards per carry when he got 12 or more carries, and 3.56 yards per carry when he had 11 or less. That's huge. That tells me that Hendo needs to be in the rhythm. You need to give him the ball consistently. And this is why I don't think that Sony Michel is going to have a 50-50 role. I think he's going to be used complementary, and that's how they should be used. Did the Rams just add this guy Brooks a few hours ago? Didn't hear about it. Yes. Will, they added him, I want to say, earlier this morning. So yeah, can safety play linebacker full time? I mean, that's also another thing there. If they move him to linebacker, when he is listed as a defensive back on the Rams transaction list, so that's how they see him maybe. But it's worth mentioning that if they do move him to linebacker, it does make sense because they have a few of these guys that are going to be expiring contracts. So maybe he, comes back next year, gets signed for, a futures deal, and then, competes in camp and kind of, they didn't bring back Jake Gervais, but I would imagine he's on speed dial if they need him. Kind of same thing with George Silvonic, defensive lineman. But, it could be interesting if they do transition him full time. Let's see. Patriots release D version. CNN is going to be all over this. Oh, my God. What do you think about us losing our inside linebacker depth every year to waivers? I mean, they didn't really lose anyone to waivers. They had they lost Roseboom to a practice squad, but I mean they've been fine for the most part. Because I mean, really, Jake Gervais is probably going to be just kind of around. They might bring him in at some point down the road. But really their inside linebackers, I think, are fine. I think they probably want to re-up with one of them because they're not going to be as expensive as Corey Littleton unless they have like a huge year. So, there's that. I'm kind of wondering why Jake Gervais wasn't added to the practice squad. Yeah, I'm a little curious as well. But, I guess he's a guy, like I said, I think he's more on speed dial. I think he's somebody that they could bring in at any moment, and that's, they like those guys. They have guys like, Jeremiah Colon, so to speak. I call them on speed dial because, I mean, Colon has made the roster. He's made the practice squad yet again. He wasn't on last year. He was in 2019. Misses last year, then comes back in 2021. That's speed dial to me. Yeah, smash that like if you can. Appreciate you, KMG. He didn't really play well in preseason, Jose. Yeah, he struggled, but again, he was trying to learn a position in, under 5 months. Pretty crazy to brand new position too. Dominic, it is interesting. Every year we lose coaches, practice squad members, and all free agent DBs every single year. And it's the league, man. And, I think what it comes down to is when you're a really good football team like the Los Angeles Rams and you have established that dominance going back to 2017, you have not had a losing season since Sean McVay has taken over. You have big-time names like Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald that attract attention. Let's call it like it is. Their team's really just throwing darts at these guys, assuming they're good because they're coming from the Rams. I mean, that's really what it's come down to now. We can talk about the talking heads like we did the other day, but, the rest of the league does not sleep on the Rams the way the mainstream media may sleep on the Los Angeles Rams. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Okay, so True, even though he was switching to a different position, but with time, it's possible he could have been good. But I see he's no Mark Barron. Well, Mark Barron's different because Mark Barron was already, he was a first-round pick. It's a lot easier for a guy like that to make the switch than a guy like, say, Jake Gervais, who was a UDFA. Morgan Fox was practice squad. He was in and out. Yeah, exactly. Darius Williams was a cut from the Ravens as well. Exactly. That's my point. That is my point. Hey, what's up, Jake? Remember when I mentioned about getting another running back in practice squad, Howell, albeit a special teamer? Yeah, I like Howell, and I like the way he's built. He's 6'1", he's like around 220 pounds. And he had a 40-yard run I mentioned the other day, impressive 40-yard run that got called back due to a hold on the other side of the offensive line. But I mean, he's had his opportunities, and I think he's made the most of them, and he's blocked some punts. He's a really good special teamer. I think that's really important, but he also adds a little bit to that offensive game should they ever need him. What do you think the score is going to be versus Rams versus Bears? I can't even read. I kind of lean towards like a blowout. I feel bad because I don't think the Bears are that bad, but playing Andy Dalton I think might ruin them in that game. I've been saying 38-10, but that's just me. Do you think Lawler will eventually be activated from the practice squad? Yeah, especially because Okoronkwo's on IR and he can't come out until week 4, and Chris Garrett is kind of up in the air, So, we'll see. Bring back Bronte Harris. I think he's another guy that's on speed dial. I know that this is ridiculously early, but which 2022 free agent would you like the Rams to go after? I can pull up the 2022 list, but to be honest with you, Scott, I'm not really that sure off the top of my head. And I don't think that they're going to have a ton of cap to really do that because I think they want to bring back a lot of guys. And I'm going to pull it up right now. I mean, right now they have about $4 million in cap, right? Let's see here. Yeah, they have $4 million in cap right now, as it stands. But in 2022, they'll have $10 million at the moment. And let's see what we can do. We can restructure. Aaron Donald saves about $6 million. Can restructure Ramsey, that saves about $11 million, so that puts us at $27 million. Leonard Floyd can save about $11 million, but then you're kicking the can down the road and becomes a little harder to move on from him if he doesn't work out. But you'd have about $39 million in cap. Cooper Kupp would save you about $8.9 million in restructure. This is a base salary restructure, nothing too crazy about it. Robert Woods could save you about $7 million in a base salary restructure, and all of a sudden the Rams and Higbee could save you about half of what his annual is. So let's say if the Rams did all the restructures, including Johnny Hekker next year, they could get to $60 million in cap space. Which would allow them pretty easily to sign a guy like Darius Williams. But they also have Deshaun Jackson. They have Sebastian Joseph Day. They have Kenny Young. They have Sony Michel. They have Austin Corbett. They have Joseph Noteboom. They have Brian Allen. They have Johnny Munt. They have John Wolford. They have Troy Reeder, Matt Gay, Juju Hughes, J.R. Reed, Traven Howard, Obadiah Okoronkwo. There are a lot of free agents that the Rams have to sign. Luckily for them, exclusive rights free agents are John Wolford, Juju Hughes, J.R. Reed, and Traven Howard, so those will be the likeliest to bring back pretty easily. Troy Reeder and Matt Gay are restricted free agents, so they'll be a little easier to bring back. But unrestricted free agents are the rest, and Darius Williams would be the main focal point, I think. You know, I mean, you're probably looking at signing him to like, oh man, I don't even know, like a $14 million a year deal potentially. So you know, there's something along those lines. But I mean, I'm checking right now. So let's see here. What do we have to work with, right? So, you know, quarterbacks, obviously the Rams are set there. You bring back John Wolford or you don't. Either way, you have Perkins and you have Stafford. So they're good. Running backs, they're good. If they want to bring back Michelle, they can. If they don't want to, they really don't need to because they should have Cam Akers next season. So then you look at wide receiver. Do they want to bring in another guy? Do they want to bring back Deshaun Jackson? There's some big receivers here. Personally, I don't see the point. Bringing back Deshaun Jackson would probably be the best idea, but they wouldn't even have to do that, so to speak, as long as I think it's really dependent on Tutu Atwell. So then you look, of course, you know, tight ends, right? They're really good at tight end, in my opinion. You know, Higbee, Munt. Munt will be a free agent, so you either bring back Munt or not. You have Bryson Hopkins and you have Jacob Harris, but if they want another guy, there's going to be plenty. There's Zach Ertz, there's Jimmy Graham, CJ Uzama, OJ Howard, Evan Ingram, Eric Ebron, Gerald Everett. You know, there's a lot of guys here. Mo Alley Cox, Mark Andrews, Rob Gronkowski. These are all UFAs. So these are all guys that are immediately free agents. If everything went the same, nothing changed, and today was free agency for next year, all those guys would be free agents. So they need to be re-upped. And then you look at the offensive line. You go to tackle. For tackles here, you know, it's a matter of do you bring back Joseph Noteboom or not. The Rams will have an opportunity to sign a guy like Dwayne Brown if he doesn't get extended. He is a free agent after the season. Teron Armstead is. Trenton Brown, Cam Robinson, Eric Fisher, Brandon Shell, Chris Hubbard, Riley Reif, Morgan Moses, Charles Leno, Orlando Brown Jr., Matt Gano, Mike Remmer, Sam Ted. So there's a lot of guys here. Obviously, the back end and the guys that I mentioned weren't that great. But Joseph Noteboom, they're going to have to decide whether or not they bring him back. Jordan Mailata is also a free agent. Really like him. He's going to start at left tackle this year for the Eagles. Now, looking at the guard position, you have Brandon Scherf, you have Mark Lewinsky, you have Laken Tomlinson, you have AJ Cann, you have Laurent Dervane, Tardif, I can't even say his name, Dan Feeney, you have Will Hernandez, Trey Turner, James Daniels, Connor Williams, Bradley Bozeman, Wyatt Teller, who's going to be, he better be paid. I mean, he's phenomenal. Billy Price, Kyle Long. There's a lot of guys here, but the Rams, do have Corbett that they need to worry about. And then, of course, at the center position, if Brian Allen does well and you see that he can play, sign him immediately because you do not want him to get his price up there to the point where he's not affordable to you now. And you only got 1 year of true value out of a fourth-round pick. So that's another thing is that, he is a free agent after the season, no strings attached. And so, what it comes down to after that is you have Ryan Jensen, Ben Jones, Matt Paratus, Jason Kelsey, Ted Karras, Mason Cole, Justin Britt, Nick Martin, Austin Corbett, Austin Blythe. You have a lot of guys here. So I think the Rams really might want to turn their attention to answer your question, Scott, because I know you're asking, who would I go after? I would really make sure I bring back in-house guys first. I'd focus on Darius Williams. I'd focus on bringing back Austin Corbett. If Brian Allen, if we're talking about at the end of the season, if he is in any bit of the shape that Blythe was last year, and he's at least that good, I'm bringing him back. You know what I mean? Noteboom, I'm definitely bringing back. So that's something. Now, looking at the edge spot, Okoronkwo is a free agent. You do have that. If they want an edge, Von Miller's an unrestricted free agent. Chandler Jones, Calais Campbell, Jason Pierre-Paul, Akeem Hicks, Dante Fowler Jr., TJ Watt, Jerry Hughes, Whitney Merciless, Mario Addison, Brandon Graham, Emmanuel Ogba, Anthony Barr, William Golston, Nicholas Morrow, Jadeveon Clowney, Takaris McKinley, Derek Barnett, Solomon Thomas, all these guys are UFAs. Even Hassan Reddick. So all of these guys are unrestricted free agents after the season. Justin Houston as well. So that's something to keep in mind. If they want to go that route, they potentially could. Now, here's the interesting one. If they wanted to go the route, so say at cornerback, right? Say, they play hardball. Darius Williams doesn't like it, and he decides, I'm not going to sign. The Rams would now probably have a lot of money allocated for the cornerback position. If they wanted to bring back Williams, they had the money set aside to bring back Williams, but it didn't work out. And the guys available are Joe Hayden, Stephon Gilmore, Chris Harris Jr., Kyle Fuller, Bryce Callahan, Patrick Peterson, Xavier Jones, Jason Verrett. You have Chervarius Ward, J.C. Jackson, Desmond King, Marshawn Lattimore, Dante Jackson, Carlton Davis, Akello Witherspoon, Isaiah Oliver, Casey Hayward, Bashad Breeland, Teron Johnson, Jimmy Smith, Avonte Maddox. There's a lot of guys here. I mean, basically, you would have a lot of opportunity. I mean, if they could not bring back Darius Williams, I'd be looking at probably somebody like Carlton Davis or Dante Jackson or J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson would be amazing alongside Jalen Ramsey if they lost Darius Williams, because J.C. Jackson is the guy that he's like, you're not losing that playmaking, ball hawking ability of Darius Williams, because J.C. Jackson had that last year with New England. He had like 8, 9 interceptions or something crazy. He's somebody I liked a lot coming out of Maryland. 7th overall corner, and he ended up going undrafted. And then, safety we don't need to talk about because the safeties are good. So really what it comes down to is, I think, to answer your question, Scott, I mean, guys that I would want in free agency are really based on, where the Rams are at. Were they able to get Darius Williams? Were they able to get Noteboom back? Were they able to get Corbett? Were they able to be, do they need to get back Brian Allen? There needs to be more context for me before I would go after anybody in free agency. For sure. I'm a big fan of bringing back everybody if you can. I think this is a good roster. I mean, I would definitely bring back Reader. If Kenny Young surprises and he plays as well as they expect and he surprises us, then I'd bring him back too. I don't think that they're going to be extremely expensive. And you talk about those names that were in free agency, a lot of big names. That makes it a little difficult for those guys to be able to get, a ton of like top dollar offers, because you have guys that are better on the market and they're like around the same. Maybe they're a little bit older, but you might pay more for a 28-year-old than you'll pay a 26-year-old, because that 28-year-old is a lot better. So that's kind of the deal there. So yeah, let's see here. After this season, how many Rams players going to retire and become free agents? Well, I did just name all the free agents. I don't know who's going to retire. I think the only one that really would be, I'm not going to say eligible, but the only one that you would expect to retire, so to speak, that would be Andrew Whitworth, because no one else is old enough to really assume that they would retire. So, one thing I thought was interesting is Landon Akers, by the way, is 25 years old. The guy they kept on the practice squad. Did not realize that. Darius Williams will be 29. He's 24. Darius Williams will be 29 next year. Bryce Perkins will be 26 next year. Also, like, Jacob Harris will be 25 next year. Like, they have some older guys. I did notice that. Not Brown. Like, Bobby Brown, I think, is like 21 right now. So. But yeah, they're really good in the secondary, though. Taylor Rapp will be 25 next year. Burgess will be 24. And then Jordan Fuller will be 24. So Nick Scott will be 27. It's They're in a pretty good spot long term in the back end of that secondary, but we already knew that. I always laugh at MSM whenever they say McVay is in the hot seat. Ask anyone in LA. He had 15 years of famine before McVay. No, he isn't ever on the hot seat. No, I agree with you, Dominic. I mean, he's absolutely not in the hot seat. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why anyone would think that, but I've actually seen that a lot. So it's not something that you made up. I've actually been seeing a ton of that, which is really weird in general. So, yeah, I know what you mean. Really odd stuff. Hey, guys, we have 60, well, now it's saying 68 people in here, so it looks like we're going up. Be sure to thumbs this up. You'll start to know that the viewer rate is going to go through the roof if we get everyone to like this, because that's how it works, is that YouTube is going to basically take it as a recommendation and they'll recommend it to other people. So we got 31 likes. Let's be sure to like that up. Let's get that up. What's up, CMDR? How we doing? Will Cam Akers be same after injury, especially for Achilles? I don't know for sure. All I can say is I guess really here's the thing, okay? I don't know for sure how that's going to work, but I will say I'm very intrigued by the idea of following along what Marlon Mack does this year. Because Marlon Mack is the most recent example of somebody dealing with the same exact injury, the same exact situation, and seeing if he can come back from that. Because he's the one that tore his Achilles last year. He is back. We will see what happens. But, you know, I just think... I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. You know, it's definitely something that is on my mind. And so, you know, I mean, we'll see. I'm not really sure how, you know, it's going to go, but, you know, I'm really hoping that Marlon Mack kind of shows people that he can still play. So, you know, that's what I will say on that. Let's see. Still have Kendall Blanton. I think we would be good at tight end if we lose Johnny Munt to free agency. That's true. Julio, I agree. An Achilles tear is hard to come back from. Darius Williams is a must to bring back if he has a breakout season. Totally agree with that. To solidify this O-line, Brandon Scherf is a phenomenal with Washington, worked with McVay before. Yeah, that would be really cool. I don't know what they'll do, to be honest with you. Really don't know. You know, we'll see. But I think if they have the money and they feel like they can add Scherf and he's going to cost a little bit more than Corbett, they might go that route. I mean, who knows? I don't think they're going to skimp on the offensive line because they have so many guys that'll be free agents and potentially could lose Whitworth. I mean, that's just assuming that Whitworth stays. Those are your only losses. And by stays, I mean stays in the league because he'll retire a Ram. If it all goes according to plan, the word is going to get out on Darius Williams. Need to have some money ready. Agree. Totally agree. That's why I'm hoping the Rams take into account that, like, hey, you had an opportunity to sign Corey Littleton to the cheapest deal of all time, and you didn't. Please learn from that mistake. Please. I mean, Littleton should still be here, by the way. They easily could have signed him to a 4-year, $20 million deal, a UDFA before he started. You saw the things that I was hearing about, what coaches were seeing about him and loving about him. They could have jumped on that in 2 seconds. They could have signed him to a 4-year, $20 million deal, barely any sort of risk because it's $5 million per year, and they would have had him. But instead, they took so long. And then they didn't even give him, they didn't even try. I don't even think they gave him an offer in preseason, or not preseason, in free agency. So I don't know. But I'm just hoping they learn from that mistake because that was a mistake. It's worked out. Like they've gone past it. They've made moves. But to lose a guy like Littleton, they have not replaced Littleton by any stretch. They have not replaced what he means, what he's meant to that team. And I mean, we'll see if it finally happens this year, but they haven't fully replaced him. No, I mean, that, I'd be lying to myself if I said that. Okay, so let's see, Gilmore would be a dream. Definitely. I get the funny feeling Rams try for Gilmore mid-season before trade deadline this year. And it's an interesting one, Dominic. I mean, you're talking about a player that, obviously was a defensive player of the year. He is somebody that is going to be on the PUP list. So he's going to be pretty fresh coming off that. Or, are you glass half full or are you glass half empty? Some people would say fresh. Some people would say rusty. But you get my point, is that the Rams might look at that like Gilmore's play down the stretch could be massive. And if the Patriots aren't in good standing, they might want to trade him. I could see that. Witt needs to see what he does. Bro, do you see Noteboom as a legitimate option? Yeah, I do. I see Noteboom as the left tackle. And I think that's why he didn't play in preseason. And I think they see it. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe they don't. But I kind of feel like they do. Okay. Bryce Perkins is 24. What's the word? What's up, Nolan? Hey, Mark, how we doing? 1 like equals 1 sparkling ice added to Jake's fridge. Oh, if only. Let's get those likes up. We're at 42. Let's keep going. What is the link between you and Rams Talk? Like we're friends. I don't know what you mean. Can you elaborate on that, Jersey? Because I don't know exactly what you mean by that. But if you're asking like how we are, like what our relationship is, Rams Talk and I are friends. Niner fan thumbs down. Go figure. Happens. Hype for this season. FYI, I go by Carney. Oh, my bad. I'll call you Carney from now on. McSteed, don't value outside. I can't even talk. Offensive line, Ramley. We know that this Scherf is a pipe dream. Well, that's true. I mean, it really is. But I figured, it really will depend. I mean, if they really wanted to bring back Corbett, but his price was up there, and they're like, well, if we paid $2 million extra a year, we could get Scherf. Would you do it? Because I think you would. That's really what the thought process is there. When Woods was coming out of USC, a scouting report called him a deep threat. When he was called a possession guy, then named one of the Rams to make fastest 4 times 100 team. Yeah, I know. It's been weird with Woods. Woods has a weird persona because he's somebody that was always good, okay? And this is why that when the Rams signed him to a 4-year deal worth $32 million, it was an absolute steal. Because essentially, Robert Woods was absolutely worth $8 million a year as a 24-year-old receiver, coming from a first, number 1 run offense in the league, coming from a team that spent a 4th overall pick on Sammy Watkins, coming from a team that didn't throw a lot, but when they did, they force-fed Watkins. Woods was just great, and he had a lot of experience blocking because they were a run-first team. He had to block a lot, so I think that made him valuable, and instead a lot of people looked at that and they're like, he didn't do anything in Buffalo. Go back and watch the Seattle game on primetime. That's when I knew Robert Woods was never... It's not like he ever wasn't, like, it's not like, oh, okay, he had this moment where he wasn't good and he came to the Rams and he was good. Like, I hate when people say that. He was always good on Buffalo. It's just his usage wasn't there. He wasn't used properly. Noteboom surely filled his role at left tackle. Yeah, he did. Absolutely. Why everyone are so down on Stafford in the media? Keyshawn said Stafford and Derek Carr are the same player. And Keyshawn does not know what he's talking about then. But I've already done a video on him. I'm not going to waste my time doing another video on him. Leonard Floyd is basically Littleton. I wouldn't say that, because Leonard Floyd doesn't cover the way Littleton does. Leonard Floyd is great at selling out against the run, and he can rush the passer for sure, but he is a legit pass rushing maneuvers. Littleton isn't the pass rusher that Floyd is, but Floyd is not the cover guy that Littleton is. Yeah, the Florio category we just don't bother with anymore. It's a waste. The running back they put on the practice squad today, what do you know about him? He's bigger than anyone else we have. Yeah, I really do like him. I think he's going to be an interesting change of pace if they ever give him an opportunity on the offensive side of the ball, but I think really he's a special teamer that they might elevate on game days because he can really play special teams. He's had some block punts. He's had a lot of experience there. He's from the 2018 class out of Florida Atlantic. So, that's what I know about him. I like that move. Not anything like too crazy, but Mike Florio is the most closeted Rams hater. To see him and Chris Sims go back and forth on Stafford is something else. Before the Rams got Stafford, everyone wanted him, and he was being hyped. Now that the Rams got him, he's a loser and doesn't make anyone around him better. Crazy how perspectives change. Yeah, what's funny about that, based on what you're saying, Christian, is I actually can recall this type of scenario. Do you guys remember a basketball player by the name of Andrew Wiggins? Of course you do, because he's in the NBA right now. But do you remember him coming out? Was it Huntington Prep? I don't remember. I think it was Huntington Prep. He was coming out of high school, Canadian basketball player. People were calling him the Canadian Jordan. People were comparing him to LeBron James. I mean, he was like the next best thing since sliced bread, right? And everyone was so convinced he was going to go to Kentucky or UNC or Florida State. And then he went to Kansas. And all of a sudden, once he chose Kansas, immediately all his potential, his ceiling all of a sudden dropped. And people are like, he's like, Kansas gets him. And this is like the biggest prospect. I mean, he was like Zion level. And as soon as Kansas gets him, everyone's like, yeah, he's a poor man's Scottie Pippen. I could see him being a little bit like Tracy McGrady. I'm like, no. When you were talking about him going to Kentucky, you were talking about him going to UNC, you were talking about him going to Florida State, which is where his parents went to school. When you were talking about him there, he was the next Michael Jordan, he was the next LeBron James, but as soon as he went to Kansas, it was, yeah, I see Tracy McGrady, poor man Scottie Pippen. He's not going to be that great. It happens all the time. You don't realize it until somebody like Christian points it out, and then now you can really start to recall, like, wait a minute. Okay, it happens all the time. It's this bias. It's a bias. I mean, people call it East Coast bias, whatever. But it's a bias, like, for instance, when the Rams are playing Seahawks. Listen to the dialogue that is used to describe that game when they're talking about the game. Listen to the way the talking heads will be like, yeah, Russell Wilson, I don't know what's up with him today. The Rams won by 2 touchdowns. Why are you talking about Russell Wilson struggling? Why aren't you giving the Rams credit? Why aren't you giving Jared Goff credit? Why aren't you giving Darrell Henderson credit? Why aren't you know what I mean? Like, it's that type of deal last year, and it continues to stay. And so it's like if Stafford went to the Niners, because the Niners are a storied franchise that actually has Super Bowls. That's a big thing. The Rams don't have Super Bowls. They have one. Everyone always holds that against them. If they had as many as Dallas, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, you'd be hearing about them more. But because the Niners are that storied franchise with Joe Montana, who a lot of people think is still the GOAT, Jerry Rice, who probably is the GOAT because he's the most dominant player to ever play football. When the Niners have an opportunity to get Stafford, everyone starts going, wait a minute, hold on a sec. If he goes to the Niners, he's going to win the MVP. And the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl. And there's going to be a dynasty. And Kyle Shanahan. And what I would say this is, it makes sense. It checks out. You know why? Kyle Shanahan's had one winning season. Yes, they went to the Super Bowl, but they lost. It's the same thing as Sean McVay, yet Sean McVay gets scrutinized more than Kyle Shanahan does. Explain that to me. Kyle Shanahan gets a pass because of the injuries. Okay, Sean McVay has injuries all the time. His number 1 receiver in Cooper Kupp literally cannot stay healthy, or number 2, whatever you want to call him. He's not been able to stay healthy. They lost Jared Goff. They lost Aaron Donald. Jared Goff came back playing on 9 fingers. They lost Aaron Donald. He played 30% health, against the Packers. I guess really my point here when we're talking about this is it's not a surprise. Because if the Niners got Stafford, they would have been raving about him. Because if Sean McVay, the roles were reversed and Sean McVay had a losing record and only one winning season, people would be kicking him out of LA. They'd be saying, oh, he's the boy wonder. He's not good. It's because he was too young to coach. We knew it all along. The Rams shouldn't have hired him. But Kyle Shanahan gets pass after pass, and I really like Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a very good coach. I do think he's had some bad moments, but we also have to hold him accountable too. He's the one, keep in mind, he's the one that wanted Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay? He's the one that requested Jimmy Garoppolo. When people use, Sean McVay asked for Jared Goff. Sean McVay did not ask for Jared Goff. Sean McVay was inheriting Jared Goff. Sean McVay thought he could make a good or bad situation better. And he was right. He did. But this idea that Sean McVay deserves all this crap because Goff started to struggle down the stretch and they only scored 3 points in the Super Bowl and all this nonsense, it's ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is apparently Seattle fans today, newsflash, still think they dominate the NFC West. Hate to break it to you, Seattle, but you've lost 9 of the last 13 games you played against the Rams, and that includes the Jeff Fisher era. You don't dominate the NFC West. You've won 1 Super Bowl with Russell Wilson, and it was early on in his career when he wasn't even the difference maker. So during this time, you've had an amazing quarterback. You've won 1 Super Bowl. You lost because you got cute and couldn't just run the ball at the 1-yard line. You were that 13-year-old on Madden who thought, ooh, I'm going to outsmart him by running a quick slant. No. Yeah, oh my God, the Seattle fans today were ridiculous. I just, I don't know if you guys saw my Twitter today. Oh my Lord. I don't have issues with every Seattle fan, and I want to make that very clear. When I say Seattle fans suck or whatever, all that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying all of them are bad, right? I'm not saying all Niners fans are bad. Now we need the fan because, man, there we go. Okay. I'm not saying all Niner fans are bad. I'm not saying all Seattle fans are bad. What I am saying is that most are. And the Seattle fans today that have been in my mentions, let me just let you guys know. There's actually some news I can report if you guys haven't been following Twitter or anything today. The Steelers have acquired Ahkello Witherspoon from Seattle, the cornerback, for a 2023 5th-round pick. Okay? I think that is absolutely ludicrous. I think John Schneider is out of his damn mind. I mean, Ahkello Witherspoon and Trey Flowers are the same guy if Trey Flowers was good. If Trey Flowers was a good cornerback, he'd be Ahkello Witherspoon, and they just shipped him away for a 2023 5th-rounder when they don't even have cornerback depth because, hey guys, we got Sidney Jones. I mean, I know it's not 2016 anymore, but maybe he'll be good. I don't know. And then Trey Flowers is really coming into his own. It's year 4. I would hope so. I mean, I don't know about you guys. As soon as I hear Trey Flowers, the first thing I think of is Todd Gurley sending him to Asgard. I mean, really? So anyway, to make a long story short, Ahkello Witherspoon goes to the Steelers, right? Goes to the Steelers. And I give them credit. I said Steelers keep winning, Seahawks keep losing. Ahkello was phenomenal last year, whatever. And they're coming at me saying he was terrible in preseason, okay? I find this funny because it's all of these excuses constantly made for Seattle's horrible management. Do you know how many times Russell Wilson's been sacked? It's been 400 times. I'm going to look it up right now because I can't even believe that this team has a fan base that will constantly, no matter what they do, side with them. You drafted Chris Carson in the 7th round. That is one of the best value picks of any running back in the NFL. Maybe the best. Chris Carson is amazing. And you continue to try to make Rashad Penny a thing? You drafted Rashad Penny in the 1st round when you found Chris Carson in the 7th? Do you know what that's like? It's like acquiring Madden 22 for $10 and then deciding I'm going to go buy the whole damn thing again for $70. You're a moron. And actually, it's not even like that, because you know what that's like? No, it's not like that at all. Essentially, you'd be buying Madden 22 for $70 and you only get to play the exhibition mode, because Rashad Penny doesn't offer any of the same things that Chris Carson does. So you're not even getting the same game, you're not even getting the same player, you're getting a lesser game and a lesser player. And you want to tell me that John Schneider is this brilliant dude? What? For real? Okay, hold on. Russell Wilson, how many times have you been sacked, my guy? You've been sacked 394 times. An average of 43.8 per season. 43.8. You've had one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for a while now. I mean, like, this is the thing that makes me laugh about Seattle fans. They're so delusional. Not all of them, but most of them. Russell Wilson has literally had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. He's had 6 seasons in which he's had over 100 passer rating. He's had 6 seasons over 100 passer rating in his career. Russell Wilson has thrown for 33,000, close to 34,000 yards. He has a career completion percentage of 65.1. He is 98, 45, and 1. He has started every game he's ever been asked to start since he came into the league as a rookie in 2012. Or 20, well, I don't even know what 2012 is. 2012. 144 out of 144 games he has started. He has thrown 267 touchdowns, only 81 interceptions. He has 31 game-winning drives. He has 24 fourth-quarter comebacks. That's not even including his rushing statistics, in which he's run for almost 5,000 yards rushing. He averages 5.6 yards per carry. Oh, and by the way, he's got 259 first downs under his belt and 21 touchdowns. And you can't keep this guy protected? Really? Well, if he stopped running, he's running for his life. And the reason I bring this up is because Seattle fans act like everything their GM does is just amazing, and I just don't get it. I mean, you still have not signed Dwayne Brown. If the season ends today, Dwayne Brown is a free agent. You realize that, right? Like, the only glimmer of hope on your offensive line, Dwayne Brown, your left tackle, the guy that protects Russell's blind side, is going to be a free agent. And, oh, by the way, now I have all the draft picks. Ready for this? Okay. All right. We're going to go back to 2020. Jordan Brooks is not starting, I don't believe. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. I'm gonna bring that up. I'm curious, because the Rams haven't had a first round pick and have drafted way better than Seattle. Seattle's had a first round pick and I don't know. So, okay. Seattle Seahawks. Jordan Brooks is likely going to start, but what has he done? He was the first round pick in 2020. Darrell Taylor. Let's see here. Darrell Taylor is... Where is he? Did he make the team? I don't even see him. Okay, he might start, it looks like, on the depth chart. Damian Lewis is probably going to start. They drafted Colby Parkinson, tight end, the 4th round. He's their third tight end. DJ Dallas is their fourth running back. Brilliant, because you want to have 5 running backs for some reason. Alton Robinson is, let's see here, their third string left defensive end. Freddie Swain is, this is, honestly, it's a little confusing. Seattle only kept 4 receivers, so he's their fourth receiver. And then Steven Sullivan isn't on the team. Okay, let's go to 2019. LJ Collier. LJ Collier's starting. There we go. Marquise Blair, is he finally starting? No, it doesn't look like Marquise Blair's starting. They signed Quandre Diggs, because why would you want a second-round pick in 2019 to start? DK Metcalf, congrats. I don't really think you get credit for letting DK Metcalf just fall to you in the second round. You know? It's like, I mean, that's an obvious. If he's there, you pick him. Where's Cody Barton? How about him? He's not starting. Okay, he was a third-round pick. Gary Jennings Jr. is probably out of the league. He's not on the team, I can tell you that much. Phil Haynes, is he starting? Phil Haynes is not starting. Doesn't look like he even made the roster. Okay. Ugo Amadi, did he make the roster? Oh, yeah, he's their third string free safety. Ben Burkervin is on IR. Travis Homer's their fifth string running back. John Ursua's on IR. And DeMarcus Christmas did not make the roster, I don't believe. He did not. Okay, that's just 2019. So, move on here. 2018, Rashad Penny. Don't you just love when you draft a backup running back in the 2018 draft? It's 27th overall. All right, let's check out Rasheem Green, who was their second pick. Oh, he's a backup. Gotcha. Okay. Let's check out Will Dissly. Oh, he's a backup to Gerald Everett. Okay, let's check out Shaquem Griffin. Oh, he's not even on the team. Let's check out Trey Flowers. We're still trying to figure him out, and he's finally coming around in year 4. We literally traded away Akello Witherspoon to give Trey Flowers an opportunity. Whatever. Michael Dixon is literally, by far, your best pick in the entire draft in 2018. You already have a bunch of guys that are gone in 2019. In 2020 as well, you have some guys that are gone. Like, they have not done a great job. I don't understand this great job. Malik McDowell's not on the team. He was their second-round pick, their first pick in 2017. Ethan Pochik is even on the roster right now. I don't believe he is. Oh, no, he's their starter. That's right. Okay, he's their starter. Shaq Griffin's in Jacksonville. Lano Hill is not on the team. Nasir Jones, not on the team. What about Amara Darboh, the third-round wide receiver out of Michigan? I don't even think he's in the league. Tedrick Thompson, not on the team. Michael Tyson, not on the team. Justin Sr., not on the team. David Moore, not on the team. Chris Carson is the best pick, and he was in the 7th round of 2016. It's like, yeah, okay. A blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then, you know? A broken clock is right twice a day. But, you know, I mean, Carson is, like, Pochik is starting, but I mean, he's not great. They don't really draft well. So what is this that I'm hearing from Seattle fans, like this idea, like, well, you got to trust John Schneider. I mean, they know what they're doing. They've been successful. No. They've been successful because of Russell Wilson. Their defense doesn't scare anyone. And honestly, it hasn't since the Legion of Boom. It played better down the stretch last year, kind of random, but it is just mind-boggling to me. People just don't get it. I mean, the Seahawks gave up 371 points last year, 398 points in 2019, 347 in 2018, 332 in 2017. So they've given up over 330 points since 2017. I mean, and then there was another thing where the Rams aren't consistent in the playoffs. And I'm like, okay, well, neither is Seattle. They lost in the wild card round, they lost in the divisional round, and then they lost in the wild card round again. And by the way, the 2 wild card losses that they have were at home. They lost to the Cowboys and they lost to the Rams. So I didn't know I was going to roast Seattle, but I figured it was coming, and I'm just had to throw it out there. All right, let's backtrack and see where everyone's at. Sorry about that. You guys know I go on my rants, and all right. Let's see. TG put that boy on a poster. He did. Yeah, Scott. I just pretty much, you're here for it. I'm glad. Snyder's washed up. Seattle fans are delusional as Dallas fans. Hit the like button if Seattle's overrated. Yes, hit the like button if Seattle's overrated. Let's do it. Like that thing up. Let's keep pushing, because as soon as you like it, it tells YouTube, hey, we got to send this video out to people that watch Rams content or people that watch sports content. And that's how we get more people. There we go, 52. Let's like this thing up. All right. Is there a record for quarterback who got sacked the most? Good question. I'll need to find that. But, I mean, Russell Wilson is on a ridiculously stupid pace to get sacked, like, just way too many times. Seattle has not made it out of the divisional round for 6 years. Yep, exactly. Regarding Twitter, crayon session. 1, preseason doesn't mean anything. 2, teams often test things in preseason. 3, Russ is the only thing separating Seattle from cards. Also, another thing I wanted to point out, and I'm glad you brought that up, Dominic, what they were saying on Twitter is that Ahkello Witherspoon isn't good because his technique is bad, which is my favorite when casuals want to get into technique of a cornerback position, when you can barely see it. Because I know you're not watching all 22, so don't try to fool me. You're watching the regular thing that everyone else is watching. You're watching the broadcast view, and you're hearing from beat writers, or you're hearing from maybe there's a tidbit in the in the broadcast, like, oh yeah, his technique is a little off, and now all of a sudden you're going to regurgitate that on every tweet you have like you're some fancy dude. I mean, come on now. Like, I'm not stupid. I was not born yesterday. But the thing that I find funny, and why I laugh at this whole conundrum that is the Seattle Seahawks figuring out what the hell they're going to do at quarterback, is this. Trey Flowers isn't good. I don't personally have anything like an issue with him, but he's not like good. I mean, maybe he's average, maybe he's below. He's not good. So this idea, like, oh, he's found his stride in year 4. You're maybe right, but until I see that, I don't know. And you had Ahkello Witherspoon. Ahkello Witherspoon was good last year. If your argument as to why you traded away a guy, you're immediately defending the trade, first off, even though you only got a 2023 fifth rounder. And your argument is that, well, we only paid him $4 million. Well, here's the issue there, okay? Ahkello Witherspoon in 2019 wasn't that great, right? But then he got better in 2020. How much better, should you say? And by the way, it's really funny that Seattle fans literally use PFF to explain why Ahkello isn't good, but they don't use PFF to explain why he is good. Because if they did, PFF literally states in 2020, he is, by all accounts, a top 5 cornerback per their ratings, per their analytical, realm. He is the 5th cornerback in the league, according to their grading system, and he is 4th in coverage. So if you're going to use PFF to say that he's bad, which I don't even know why you would do that, you're just a moron, then use it to explain, to at least listen to my point and why I believe he's good. And here's the thing. Even if it was to make room for Trey Flowers, which I find ridiculously funny because Trey Flowers has never had a good season on the level of Ahkello's last year with the Niners. I mean, I was glad the Niners let him go because he's really good, and I wasn't glad when Seattle got him. But when Seattle traded him to the Steelers, I was like, huh? I mean, their corners right now are Trey Brown, Trey Flowers, DJ Reed, and Sidney Jones. Like, Sidney Jones, 2017 is, like, everyone talked about Sidney Jones. Like, Sidney Jones is not gonna move the needle for me. DJ Reed is a good player, but he's the same argument. So this is another thing. Seattle fans will say, well, if Okello was that good, then why did the Niners cut him? The Niners didn't cut him, buddy. He became a free agent, and they didn't have a lot of money to begin with. But secondly, if you're going to make the argument that DJ Reed is good, which he is, by the way, then also keep in mind that the 49ers have made this same mistake in the past and let DJ Reed go for nothing. Because guess who he was with? The Niners. So you literally scooped him up, and then you trade him for a 2023 fifth rounder because you have Trey Brown, Trey Flowers, DJ Reed, and Sidney Jones? I mean, who is afraid of those corners? Like, really? You just have to crack up because it's like, I mean, I laugh. He's, you know. So I think he's going to end up having a good year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, has a chance to start. But really the point here is this. The Seahawks are literally starting Trey Brown. Actually, they're starting Trey Flowers, DJ Reed, and Trey Brown with Sidney Jones as a backup. The reason the Rams kept 4 corners, I can tell you this, is because they like the versatility of Terrell Burgess to play nickel. And 2 of those 4 corners, by the way, that they kept are top 10 corners. One is by far the best, and the other one is really, really good and probably 8th or 9th in the league right now in Darius Williams. I have no words. So that's everything as far as that goes. I'm not going to get too much more into it because I've gotten way too much into it. I've gotten heated over it. I'm not actually mad. I'm just putting emphasis behind my words. You get that. And I do have my rants, and I think they're fun, and you guys seem to like them. I engage, so I do them. But they always bring up that Super Bowl whenever you mention that. Yep, of course, they always do. That's valid, Scott. David Carr, I think Julio, Crayon Session. Yeah, the Crayon Sessions. Can someone make a mixtape right now called the Crayon Sessions, please? You guys ever see Weird Bars by Rise? What's his name? I just downloaded it because I'm a big fan of his on TikTok. What the hell's his name? The rapper that just does weird bars. What is his name? I cannot think of it. Rise. I don't even know. I gotta find it though. Rise Hendricks. He is, yeah, it's like that. Can Rise Hendricks do a record called the Crayon Sessions? Funny. Sea Chickens are done when Chancellor goes down, and LLB is history as well. Yeah, I mean, they haven't been the same since Legion of Boom. It's been the Russell Wilson show. That doesn't really tell me anything. It tells me that you're probably a 5-11 team as soon as Russell Wilson goes down with an injury. It tells me why you're all over the place. You can't decide who the hell is going to be your quarterback. You've cut about 3 quarterbacks since. You literally picked up Jake Luton. You had Sean Mannion to begin with, and Geno Smith is your backup. It tells me you have no idea what you're doing if Russell Wilson gets hurt, and since he's basically your entire team and he's carrying you, that's not very good. Okay. Can we say Russell Wilson is abused? He's absolutely abused. It's ridiculous. Seattle are one to talk. They lost 2 Super Bowls as well. I hate the Seahawks as much as... that said, I give Russ a pass. He's good in my book. Yeah, I like Russell Wilson. Russ is great. The Seahawks are trash. I hate the Seahawks, but I hate the Niners the most. Agreed. I dislike casuals in these teams' fan base more than anything. I agree with that. I don't just mean I think he plays well. I mean I respect Russ and don't ever trash talk Russ. Bandwaggers, Nolan can't stand it. 100%. DK counts as 2 wide receiver. Rams fans admit Snead does some awful contracts. Jake, check out the Discord. Have you seen that pick of Nick Scott yet? I have not. Is he in the air? Oh my god. He's got hops. I know he had a 40-inch vert, so it doesn't actually surprise me, but man, he's got that knee brace though. It freaks me out. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. Let's see here. He's getting better, Ram fan. Well, we picked up Rap over DK, so not so obvious. That's true. Rashad would not make her roster. It's funny because I don't think he would either, to be honest with you. I don't really see the big deal with Rashad Penny. Again, nothing against him personally. I just, as a player, I didn't see it. I was at the Senior Bowl. I saw him. Okay? Kalen Ballage was more impressive, and you could have had Kalen Ballage in the 4th round. I would like to submit this for the class, this idea. What if Cooper Kupp's mind was in the body of DK Metcalf? Like, can you imagine the difference in player? Yeah, that's... I mean, I think Metcalf is smart. I don't think there's anything wrong with his football IQ. I think he just gets super into it, I would probably say that. And by the way, I have more issue with Seahawks fans than Niners fans. Because here's the thing, guys, and I know this doesn't, resonate with a lot of you. I'm 25. I wasn't around during the, when Montana used to whip the Rams. You know what I mean? Like, I was not around during that. So I hear about it, but I don't know it as well as most of you do. So, and I'm not saying everybody's older than me, but you get my point. And so with the Seattle Seahawks, they've been a thorn in my side all of my childhood. I mean, I got hit by a car the day after the Rams lost to Charlie Whitehurst. And I could tell you right now, Whitehurst, losing to him, losing that game was probably worse than getting hit by a car, in my opinion. And I could say that because I had both. It was awful. Okay, let's see. Ethan Pochik gets absolutely embarrassed by Dolan twice a year. That's true. Nick Scott got bunnies. I see what you mean by that. What's good, El Pineapples? Reminder, Russ was drafted 3rd round, meaning Seattle lucked into him. They didn't know the talent. Thought Rivers has the record for most sacks. Probably. He got sacked a lot. Russ quarterback play mask their flaws, but their issues aren't going unnoticed at this point. Jake, he is bad. I'm a diehard Niners fan. Wait, you thought Akello was bad in 2020? I don't know if I agree with you there, Bates. I don't know if I agree with you there, Coach. I do not know, but I mean, you watched him a lot. I've watched as much, not as much as you, but I've watched a lot of that. So I really came away impressed with Akello's last season so far. Is Brett Favre, who owned the NFL record for being... Well, he probably was sacked the most. Wait, 525? Oh my God. Russell Wilson's going to shatter that. Brady is 521. That doesn't surprise me. He's been playing so long. Russell Wilson is on a ridiculous pace, folks. Ridiculous. Andy Dalton might break the NFL all-time sack record on Sunday, September 12th in SoFi. That's the hope. Has Everett done anything for the Seahawks this preseason? I don't think they used him. Maybe they did. I didn't see it, but Chase Claypool or Curtis Samuel for flex PPR. I'm not going to lie. Claypool is less of the risk, I would say, but I think Curtis Samuel is probably... I have Curtis Samuel rated higher than Claypool in my rankings, as crazy as that may sound to some. Yeah, let me see what I got here. I'm going to get you... some... Okay, so let's see here. Because I got my rankings here. Done all that. By the way, we're at 321 members of the Discord. Be sure to sign up if you haven't already. It costs $0.00. Literally anyone's welcome. Rams fan or not. MCU fan or not. Horror movie fan or not. If you're a channel fan, you're a channel subscriber. If you support me. If you don't support me. If you just like the... You're welcome. I don't discriminate against anybody joining. I did just drop that in the comments if you want to join the Discord. We're rocking and rolling here. Trying to get to 400 before next Sunday. Can we do it? It'd be pretty cool. Okay. So what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I'm bringing this up right now. So we got the player standings. Where are my season projections? Okay, here they are. Okay, so for wide receiver, where do I have Claypool? I have Claypool at wide receiver 21, just a tick below Julio Jones. I have Deontay Johnson as the number 1 receiver in Pitt. And then Curtis Samuel at 23. Okay. That's a really good question because, I have Claypool rated a little bit higher, but I think Curtis Samuel's running ability makes him interesting for sure. There's not a lot of running wide receivers, so to speak. As far as guys that really get a ton of carries, you look at Robert Woods, who gets about 20, Tyreek Hill, Curtis Samuel, Laviska Shenault, Deebo Samuel, Mecole Hardman, Tutu Atwell potentially this year, and that's really it. Jakeem Grant maybe. So in that case, I'd probably just stick with your guns on that. If you're leaning Claypool, I wouldn't talk you out of going with, Samuel. But if you're leaning Samuel, I wouldn't talk you into going with Claypool. I think it's that close. Like I said, Claypool, wide receiver 21 for me. Curtis Samuel, wide receiver 23. Also got Juju. I don't have Juju doing well this year, I don't think. I really don't like Juju anymore. I feel bad. I don't know. I don't know the value doesn't feel like it's there for me. Yeah, I have him at 58, like wide receiver 58. I have Van Jefferson, Rondale Moore, Traquan Smith, Henry Ruggs, Marvin Jones, AJ Green, Antonio Brown ahead of him. It just doesn't seem like the Steelers value him as much as they used to. It seems to me like it's the Deontay Johnson Claypool show. By the way, also keep this in mind. Najee Harris is going to have a ton of experience pass catching out of the backfield. So do not fall for that in a sense that maybe you'll be like, I might take a flyer on Juju Smith-Schuster. I might even take a flyer on James Washington. Don't be that guy, because I'm telling you, Najee Harris is going to command a lot of work out of the backfield as a receiver. It's going to take away, the pass catching share, from those other guys. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Seattle probably has the biggest fan base in the football community over here in Germany, and I really don't like that. That's a great point. That's a great way to put it, and I'm sorry, but that was really funny. I know it's hella early, but any pre-draft players should be watching that the Rams could be looking at. Fear to Fork Nation, to be honest with you, I don't know a single player. I'm pretty far out of it. I know quarterbacks, right? Like, I know Ritter because I scouted him last year, hoping he'd come out. I know, Carson Strong. I know Spencer Rattler, But aside from that, I don't know a ton of guys. I guess if the Rams are looking for a receiver, I don't know why they would. Maybe there's a receiver to replace Deshaun Jackson. Mid to late round guy, Andrew Parchment, who I watched at Kansas. He transferred to, I believe, Florida State, so that's a guy I'll be watching, but I don't know too much. I'm going to watch tomorrow, Saturday. Kansas is going to play. I'm going to watch Kansas. I'm going to watch Alabama. I'm going to watch USC, but I really don't like watching too many teams because I don't want to have too many preconceived notions, too many biases. And I think I do a good job, as far as, being an Alabama fan, for instance, and USC and Kansas. I don't rate those guys too high. For instance, Mac Jones was my QB6. I want him to do well. I'm rooting for him. I'm happy for him being the starter, but I didn't have Mac Jones super, super high. I actually had him below a lot of the consensus. It's the same thing with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I watched him at USC. I hope he does well. I'm rooting for him, but he was not my top 10 receivers. And I honestly think I might have gotten that wrong. With Kansas, it's kind of the same thing. I never put a Kansas player in the top 10 if I don't actually believe that player is a top 10 caliber player. I don't put them in the top 20 if I don't believe that. So it's more so, you don't want to get caught up in those moments, so to speak. So I find out, maybe I might, with watching Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins, that fantastic game, Michigan State versus Wisconsin. It was a lot of fun to watch, and it's one of the games I remember distinctively, and it feels like a preconceived bias because I was so into that game. It made me like Kirk Cousins, it made me like Russell Wilson a little bit more. So that type of thing. Let's see. If Seattle missed the playoffs, does Russ demand a trade? I think Russ was really close to getting out of Seattle this year. Like, to be honest with you, if the Dak Prescott thing goes down a little differently, I think Dak Prescott ends up in Seattle, and I think Russell Wilson ends up in Dallas. So that's what I actually thought was going to happen there. Jake, do Rams fans hate the Niners because we play you guys so well? Coach, great question. It really, to me, from what I've taken away, is that the Rams fans hate the Niners because, one, they're, that division rivalry. They're like the Red Sox Yankees. That really, it's weird because there's such a historic rivalry, but no one talks about it on the level of Yankees Red Sox, when arguably you could say that they were like that in the 80s. I think really because it's the West Coast, and it's the East Coast bias, so to speak. Also, I mean, Yankees Red Sox goes back years ago, long time ago, like before football was even invented. Maybe, I don't know. I might be dating myself there, but anyway, the biggest thing I always ask them, like, why do Rams fans hate the 49ers so much? And the reason is, I mean, it's really simple. It's during that time, Montana, Rice, Young, all those guys. Like, during that time, I think just really there's a deep-seated hatred for, Rams fans with the Niners. And if the Niners didn't win as much, if the Niners didn't, disrupt what the Rams were doing, because the Rams would just kick the crap out of teams, but people didn't realize that because when you go back, historians know, but like the casual fan won't go back and be like, oh, wow, the Rams were really good then. People just remember the Niners holding up the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year, and that's what that was. So that's really why. As far as now, because they're good again. And I think, people feel it's not, and Coach, I can tell you don't fit this bill, but I think people feel like Rams fans especially feel like Niners fans are very fair weather. And I know you're not because, you were here. I remember you showing up last year, I believe, in some of my videos, like the comment section. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know you're not, but there's other people that are. And I think that's kind of had a bad stigma on the team, and why Rams fans also really dislike them, because a lot of Rams fans are super loyal. The majority are, I can tell you that. I don't know the majority of Niners fans, so I can't say. I'm just telling you kind of what I've heard. Majority of Rams fans are super loyal. They can tell you when Scott Covington was supposed to start for the Rams. They can tell you when Marshall Faulk was the emergency backup. They can tell you who came in, how all of a sudden Pat Hayden gets hurt and Vince Ferragamo comes in. They can tell you about, just the old days, with the 50s and, the Crazy Legs Hirsch era and all that. They can tell you about how they acquired Roman Gabriel. They can tell you how they acquired Merlin Olsen, all sorts, right? Like super, super diehard fan base. Which is why they also get such a horrible rep. I hate it so much because I do think this fan base is one of the best in the league. And furthermore, I think the Rams are one of the most historic teams in the NFL. They've been the first for a lot of things, and they don't get the credit because they don't have the Super Bowl rings. And we just don't give a crap, apparently. We just don't give a crap, apparently, the fact that, they won 2 NFL championships, because we don't apparently care. We don't, really applaud that. And so, we worry about guys like, Otto Graham being as great as they are, but we don't give him credit for championships won in that era. Make it make sense, right? So long story short, Coach, that's pretty much why I think a lot of Rams fans especially think that the Niners fan base is very fair weather, and that they felt like they were non-existent, early on in the Shanahan era or before that, and then all of a sudden they came out of the woodwork, and you saw, bang bang Niner gain everywhere, and I just think it rubs people the wrong way, and that's why. You can't say that about Browns fans, right? Like, they're not, Browns fans, notorious, they may be a little annoying here and there, but they've been through a lot. They're always at the games. They're always loading it up. And I feel like that's really why Rams fans feel that. So, But like I said, Coach, I don't think you fit that bill, and I appreciate you supporting my channel. So I hope you don't take offense to that, but I'm just explaining, answering your question about why I think and what I've heard. Yeah, the car was just not. We won't get too much into that, but yeah, the car wasn't the best. I dislike the Niners because of their fan base here in LA. Well, there you go. That's And this in regards to hating Seahawks versus 49ers, it's not just the old rivalry. LA hates San Francisco. San Francisco hates LA. SoCal, NorCal rivalry. Yeah, that's also true. The Dodgers and San Francisco Giants, I think that makes a lot of sense. Plus, you had the Brooklyn Dodgers and you had the New York Giants. People forget. San Francisco Giants were not always in San Francisco. They were in New York. So, that's something to keep in mind. Seattle will miss the playoffs this season. Russ is great, but the rest of the guys are trash if he goes down. Well, if he goes down, they're not winning 6 games. Rams will sweep the division this season. Ooh, it looks like we got some more people in there in the Discord. Keep it coming. Manuel Mosley is the way better cornerback. I'm 49. I've been a Niners fan since I was 5 years old. Mosley put Spoon on the bench. Spoon always got beat. Mosley's really good. I really do think that Witherspoon is being, underrated here, and I think he'll be really good in the Steelers defense. Having a guy above him and Minka Fitzpatrick, and having the pass rushers that they have. Guys like Highsmith and Watt, and then of course you have Hayward and Tuitt interior. Tuitt will start the season on the IR, but you get my point. Of course, Devin Bush, linebacker, Joe Schobert. That defense is really good, guys. I think Witherspoon is going to end up starting for them. They'll have Cam Sutton in the slot. The South Carolina RB1, he is amazing. Who is the South Carolina RB1? I just know that one guy. I forget the guys. Forget the one guy's name. Breece Hall. Where's Breece Hall from? I've heard of him so many times. He's like the number 1 running back in this class. That's another guy I know. Okay. I hate the Niners to the deepest part of my heart and soul, and the tragic part is that my dad is a Niners fan. Oh, Niners fan. Oh my God. Fearsome foursome statues at SoFi would be tough. Yes, Nolan, that would be freaking awesome. I would love that. Yes, please smack that like button. Smack it. 73-67 Niner wins over the Rams, but they act like it's 80-3. 2019, it was that song. In 2020, it was Bang Bang Niner Gang. Oh, Bang Bang IR Gang. Oh my God. And the Rams were the Cleveland Rams, exactly. Even if we don't win a Super Bowl, unfortunately, I think that the Aaron Donald needs one. I agree. I hate the Niners because they are living off old glory. What have you done for me lately? I agreed with a lot of that, Jake. Thank you, Coach. When this channel blows up this season, will JE be able to continue to read and comment on every chat reply? Thank you. Your content is amazing. Carney, I'm going to try my damnedest, but if it's anything like the Matthew Stafford stuff, when we had all those reports and rumors that we could get a Matthew Stafford or Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers trade, if you guys are OGs and remember those live streams, it got hectic. So people did start super chatting because it was like indicating, it puts this giant bubble up and I was able to see the chat. It did get my attention because I tried to read everyone's, but it got overwhelming. So I can't guarantee as much as I want to. If it gets to the point where it's like dead meat, and if you guys know James A. Janice, who does the kill count and does all the horror movies and everything, if it gets to that point, I just physically won't be able to read all those in a day if I even tried. So it will get to the point where it's like, hey, if you want to make sure I see your comment, you will want to drop a super chat, and that way it'll highlight it. And I'll be able to read it and see it immediately because it gives me that. It puts it right in my mini feed on my application. So, if anytime I miss anything or anything like that, that's probably the best course of action during the busy time of the year. That's the best thing I can say. I know some people are like, well, I don't want to donate. That's fine. But I'm just letting you know that that ensures me that I can see that, because it's going to highlight it in whatever it normally does, like orange, green, blue, whatever, but it'll get my attention because I have it up right now and it's going okay. But here's the thing that I also don't want to do. Carney, I don't want to put our chat in slow mode. I don't ever want to do that. I'm not somebody that believes in that. I think it takes the whole point of a live stream, engaging a live audience. I think it takes that away. A slow chat is going to basically lag the whole stream down. I stream on ultra low latency, so you can see what I'm saying right when I say it, and I can see what you're saying right as I'm saying things. It would defeat the whole purpose to basically be like, oh, this is too big. We're going to put you on slow chat now. Not doing that. Never doing that. I'm just not. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm going to try my best to read and comment every time, but if it's anything, and I'm hoping it is like the Stafford stuff, those streams would get 10,000 views. Like at the end of the night, I would, I'd have 10,000 just sitting there. I'd be like, holy hell. It was crazy. It just was so awesome. It was great to see. So I'm hoping, it gets back to that. I have fam and homies who are diehard Niners fans, but they aren't like these Crayola addicts online. That's the thing. I have, fans that are Niners fans that I coexist with. But I also don't really have any deep-seated hatred to the Niners. I mean, I don't like the Niners, obviously, but I can understand, I don't know. I don't really hate many teams. That's really what it comes down to is, like, since I've been covering football and everything, I try to be unbiased. The Seahawks I hate because, like, their fans have given me a reason to hate them. But at the same time, I'm going to call it like it is. I'm going to tell you DK Metcalf is one of the best receivers in football, and he's going to be a superstar as long as he keeps his head on straight. I'm going to tell you that Tyler Lockett is one of the most underrated fantasy wide receivers you can possibly get. Model of consistency. I'm going to tell you that Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the game today. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's been carrying that team. I'm going to tell you that Chris Carson's a top 10 running back and has been, no matter how many times people want to say he's not, no matter how many times Seattle wants to neglect his carries. I'm going to tell you Jamal Adams pisses me off. I'm annoyed, and I do think he actually knocked out John Wolford on purpose to put Goff back in. I do think that was a plan of attack. Take advantage of the fact he was a running quarterback, hit him head on, then the flag gets thrown, they pick up the flag, so we got lucky. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you also that Jamal Adams is a really, really good safety. I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm going to keep it real, but at the same time, I don't like that team. So, it's just I try to keep the biases away, in my analysis and, my comments. But I have no love for the Niners. I hope they go 0-17 for the next 80 years. Bang Bang Niner game sounds like a dirty movie. Yeah, I'm not kidding there. I just came in. What are your thoughts on Antoine Brooks? Oh, what's up, Will? Yeah, so my thoughts on Antoine Brooks, you're getting a guy on the practice squad who the Steelers did like, but it came down to injuries. 6th-round pick out of Maryland, a versatile defensive back / linebacker. I'm really curious to see where the Rams see him fitting into this. They have a ton of safety depth, but the fact is that he could fit right into that linebacker group next year in camp, since you have Reeder and you have Young, who are both going to be free agents. That only leaves 2 guys on the roster in Ernest Jones and, of course, Traven Howard. You would have Kaiser coming off the practice squad and then going on to the futures contract if that ends up working out. But there's not a ton of guys there, so maybe they move him to linebacker. He lays the wood. This is a guy that has a lot of pop behind his pads. This is somebody that can really make a sound tackle. He's a sure tackler, can work a little bit in coverage, obviously needs to improve in that regard, but I love his ability off the edge. It's really weird, but I think he'd be a really good blitzing kind of Swiss Army knife type of pseudo linebacker if the Rams want to use him, kind of similar to Mark Barron. Has a lot of upside, but again, the injuries are what kept him from making the 53-man roster for the Steelers. And he signs with the Rams here. I think he's going to get some great coaching. He's going to be around a lot of talent. It'll be interesting to see if he sticks to safety or linebacker and how long it is until he makes the 53, or if he does make the 53. So that's what I would say about Antoine Brooks, since you missed the earlier portion of this live stream. I do like the player. So far, I would say he's the biggest name. I'd say Buddy Howell is the most underrated, and I'd say Jared Hawker is the most intriguing and the highest upside of any of the guys that they've added to their practice squad that weren't already in the building. So that's what I would say in that regard. Okay, so Who is an under-the-radar player on defense you believe will have a breakout year, Jake? Great question. I mean, the linebackers are tough because I feel like there's going to be a lot of rotating in and out. Plus, they're not always going to be playing a base 3-4. A lot of the time, I think they'll be in nickel. For that reason, if we do get an opportunity to see it, Nick Scott, because Nick Scott made a serious leap. He is no longer just a special teamer. They would be fine with him starting. This is somebody that played very well down the stretch, and you talk about having him play some very needed snaps against Seattle in the playoff game, playing against the Packers, making a huge pass breakup against Seattle late in the game. I mean, he's really started to show what he can do. I mean, he's a great athlete coming out of Penn State, but he was really a special teamer. And so I'm curious to see if he has a bigger role, Holden, then I think, he could have a breakout year if he had to, fill in for an injured Rapp or Burgess or Fuller, knock on wood. Another guy that could have a breakout year is A'Shawn Robinson. I can't tell you how many times I see comments saying, why do we keep A'Shawn Robinson? The dude's always hurt. Well, he's getting a procedure done, but he's going to be ready for week 1. And last year he wasn't hurt. He had a health condition that sidelined him for pretty much the whole season. And then down the stretch, he actually made some pretty big plays, including, blocking that kick later on in the year. So, to me, this is how I look at it, is that you have A'Shawn Robinson, who's going to be a starter, but then kind of a wild card answer to your question, Holden, would be Nick Scott. Thank you, Carney. I appreciate that. I am curious, Jake, how you got Mina Kimes' radar as legit Rams media in... I am curious, Jake, how you got on Mina Kimes' radar as legit Rams media in so soon of time. What do you mean by that? Has she mentioned us? She's been on our show before, and I'm friends with her. I like to think I'm friends with her. Like, we both follow each other. We talk every now and then on Twitter. I'm a big supporter of her work, and she put out a fantastic article on Justin Herbert on ESPN. Definitely want to check that out. But yeah, Dominic, can you specify that for me? I don't know if she said anything about DTR or me or whatever. The fans and media makes me dislike these teams. That's true. Just from watching different 49ers channels, I can tell you that a lot of their YouTubers are very biased and homers, a lot of hint of arrogance too, maybe some recent success. It's bad because casual fans repeat that clueless clickbait pundits say. That's true. I read that title correctly. What, did I do it wrong, Aiden? By the way, what's up, Aiden? Rams finalize practice squad with Antoine Brooks plus AMA. Yeah, I mean, the Steelers cut Antoine Brooks, and then he went to the Rams practice squad. I like Michael Hoyt. I would like to see how he does when he rotates in. I think he could be an option as an edge guy. Like, I think he might have an option. He might have an ability to take over for Okoronkwo if Chris Garrett, can't make it because of COVID IR. I think he'll be back, but if he can't, then Hoyt is right there. Are you confident with Rapp being paired with Fuller? I really like Rapp. I think here's the funny thing. I was very critical of Rapp, and I think a lot of it was being bitter, the fact that they picked him over DK Metcalf. But the fact of the matter is this. You go back, you watch the film, you watch the tape that he had in 2019, he was up there. Like, if he stayed fully healthy and played the whole season as a starter, he could have been up there for defensive rookie of the year. Like, he was really good. And then 2020 rolls along, and it's like he didn't have a preseason. He had a weird offseason. Everyone did. He deals with an injury. He comes back. He gets hurt again. It was just a really off year, but it wasn't a bad year, so to speak. He just wasn't available. So 2019 had a great year. 2020 he didn't play a lot. Now 2021 he's healthy again, and he's starting. So I don't know. I think Rapp has a chance to be really, really good. Plus, I ended up finding out, and I figured a lot of people said this was true, but I wanted to get confirmation. He did run the 40-yard dash at his pro day. He ran like a 4.7 or whatever. He did run that entirely injured. Like, he ran that with like an injured hamstring. So that there is truth to that. So he's more of like a 4.5, 4.6 speed guy, not 4.7, 4.8. So I don't really, and I thought that too. I was like, wait a minute, he plays way faster than he ran. That's why. Let's see here. Why do we keep A'Shawn Robinson? The dude is always hurt. Oh my God, Nugget. Do you think since Matthew Stafford likes his tight ends, Higbee will have more touches? I just think the thing that's, and I said this on Sirius XM when I went on their show, the fantasy football show. Higbee could have 1,000 yards, but he has to share the load with guys like Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel out of the backfield. He has to share the load with Woods, Kupp, Jefferson, Jackson, potentially Atwell. I mean, there's just not enough there for me to give you a Higbee is going to be a big-time player this year. I think for the Rams and what they want, if Higbee has 600 yards, that's going to equal having 1,000 in like Seattle or having 1,000 in Washington, But with the Rams, 600 is probably like his ceiling around that with everything they have. But we'll see. Maybe he'll have a breakout season. Maybe he ends up being the go-to guy. Who knows? I saw you respond to one of her comments on Twitter regarding Perkins, and she responded like she knew you, which I was just surprised and impressed with that she watches your videos. Didn't know you interviewed her, but before, that's all. Oh, okay. Yeah, Dominic. Yeah, she watches some of my videos. She watched my Jacob Harris one. But she came on the Downtown Rams podcast I did with Alexis Kraft, and she was great. So we definitely would need to have her back on. But yeah, she's great. She's awesome, and I support her. I think she's one of the better, one of the better people in sports media. Not only as what she does as a job, but her as a person too. She's a great person. So, I would definitely tell people and push them in the direction to check out Mina Kimes' work because she knows what she's talking about. That Nick Scott will have a breakout. I don't know if I read that wrong. Breakout here this year. What do you think? If Nick Scott's healthy and someone gets hurt, I think Nick Scott could break out. That was really my point. It depends on how big a role he has, but it's weird. He's been out there with the ones at times I've seen in these pictures, so potentially they're, maybe they rotate all four of the safeties. Who knows? If A'Shawn has a pretty good year, I say sign him back on the team. I think his run stopping is good. Will be better than now that he's in shape. Yeah, I mean, he's in really good shape now. Hired a nutritionist, all that, so really bought in. I really like A'Shawn Robinson, so I'm hoping the best for him. I agree. Love Mina Kimes. I feel that. Hit the like. No teasing. Yes, hit the like, please. Got 66 likes. Let's get it up there. We had 725 views in this stream, which is not bad. I think I'm going to stop in about 10 minutes. So everyone start wrapping up their questions, ask their final questions and what have you. Also be sure to join the Discord channel. We're at 325 members, trying to get to 400 before the season starts. And yes, that is going to be absolutely crazy during the season. It costs $0.00. That is the link. Be sure to sign up. If you want to talk Rams, MCU, MCU, horror, NFL, fantasy, whatever, that's the place to do it. Basically, it's the Twitter without the annoying people that you're talking to, right? It's just people that you want to coexist with. It's a very great, it's a great community, and it's only great because of you guys. So, line rants. Oh yeah, that's the one thing that you need to be prepared for. Crayon Twitter. Oh God. Oh man. Nolan, how does Crayon Twitter sound to you? Does that sound like something you want to sign up for? Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter, at JKBogan. Oh my God, my mentions exploded. Later, Carney. Thanks for stopping by. Always fun and engaging. Crayola Twitter. Oh God. Yeah, I mean, A'Shawn's beard. Yeah, exactly. I don't have an underdog fantasy league right now, but I can make one. Should we make one on the fly? What's up, Pineapple? Who wants to make an underdog fantasy on the fly right now? All right, cool. Before I get off, we're going to make sure I'm going to do... Okay, cool. So, all right. I wish I had... This would be cool. If I had the... if it had a QR code, I could just hold it up and then you guys could scan it. That'd be awesome. All right, let's make it, right? So, how many people are we thinking? 12? Let's see. So we got 12. $3 entry 12. Okay. I'm dropping the link. Now, guys, keep this in mind. You can use promo code DTR at sign up. And once you put in your first deposit, you get $25 free. Like, it just shows up in your account on your Underdog Fantasy app. So, thank you, Coach. You take care. Appreciate you always supporting, man. All right. So, ready, set, go. All right. I'm waiting on y'all. Thank you, Rusty. Appreciate your support. Take care. Yeah, it's best ball. That would happen. That would happen. Someone would curse. God, I hate that. You know what? I'm going to put it because I don't trust people. There we go. I'm not hanging up on this until I fill this league. So you guys know what to do. I'm going to pin that. It is as soon as we fill it, to be honest with you. Oop, filled. Keep it coming. We got 10 more. Look at the pinned comment. All right. I'm going to kill my arm if I don't figure out a way to rest it. Be sure to join. Link is pinned. Got 10 more to go. $3 buy-in. Use promo code DTR. You get $25 free. If you like to draft fantasy football, that's literally all you're doing. You're just drafting. Oh. I see you, Richard. We need more. I saw all those people interested. Come on, don't back out. You put it in at the time of when you're doing the what the hell is it called? The deposit. Oh no, it's not available in Australia? Oh, that's awful. I'm sorry. Yeah, L Pineapples, you put it in at the time of deposit. I think it should show up a code. It's not available in Arizona? Arizona banned it? It should be available anywhere gambling is available. So Texas, it should be available, I would assume. It's not available for you either? What is going on? This backfired. I'm sad. That's so annoying. That sucks. Well, that took the wind out of my sails. It doesn't look like anybody that wanted to do it can do it now. That's so annoying. What? It's not available in anything? Oh my god. Yeah, no, I know. I was trying to figure out a way, but alright. Well, that blows. That absolutely blows. What an awful way to end it. But that is going to do it for me, guys. I love all of y'all. You be good people. I will see you guys soon. Actually, I'll see you guys tomorrow because I'm doing streams every single night till the end of the season. At least an hour. At least an hour. Maybe 2, like tonight or more. But, yeah. Appreciate you guys. You know, I'll get you guys ready for the game. We'll have pre-game, post-game, breakdowns, all that. So, I love y'all. You guys take care. And I'll see you guys soon. Later.